So what exactly is woke culture? I've been thinking a lot lately in regards to what the anti-woke grifters are doing wrong and what they're not talking about. And I kind of came to the realization that, like, they're not really defining what woke culture is. And this has led to this really weird situation in which certain bad faith actors, lolicons, are coming in and trying to make demands saying that, like, well, we can't censor porn because that would be free speech. Never mind that porn causes issues in society. Never mind that porn is not free speech. Never mind it never has been classified as such. People are actively coming into our community and trying to dictate what we can and can't believe, right? In a lot of ways, I feel like this kind of free speech absolutism is an example of woke culture, right? An attempt at coming into a community and trying to subvert and destroy it by talking about things that nobody actually cares about, right? This is what happened with Gamergate as well. People began to notice that gaming journalism was corrupt, that it was pushing a lot of bad games, but they weren't ever able to figure out why. And in a lot of cases, they still don't know, right? A lot of them think this is a political issue, when in reality, it was just game journos taking advantage of an ecosystem that was propped up in order to promote PlayStation over other platforms, right? The actual core issue that PlayStation is a bad video game company that relies entirely on game journalist hype was never addressed, right? It never came up, and to this day, you don't really see anti-woke grifters acknowledge that throughout peak wokeness, Nintendo was never really affected by it. And now that woke culture is on the way out, now that people know about it, now that people are like condemning it, it it seems like it never will be. Okay, but the thing about these kind of situations, they happen because we don't clearly define what woke culture is. What exactly they're trying to accomplish and what they want to do. Woke culture, at its core, is an attempt at utilizing Marxist tactics to try and subvert and destroy groups of people in order to force them into a position in which they have to support their ideology. Essentially, they are attacking our traditions so they can replace them with their own. They're attacking our history so they can push their own warped version of history. They attack our political leaders. They attack, our culture in an attempt at like replacing it with their own like idealized society. Right? Woke culture is the product of universities training their students to believe in the fictional communist utopia, right? All we have to do to fix all of the problems is this, this, and this. We have to take out white people. We have to take out men. We have to take out the man, Like you have to do all this stuff in order to create our communist utopia, You don't have to work. You don't have to do anything. You just have to ruin things for everyone else, right? If everyone believed the same things we do, that would create our commie utopia, right? And that is what's happening. It's happening in all manner, in all of society, in conservative political circles, in news outlets, in universities, at the local public school levels, everywhere, sports, every Hollywood, like every single aspect of culture has been compromised and destroyed a long time ago, probably as early as the 60s, right? Especially when it comes to Hollywood. Actually, I think Hollywood might have been woke longer than that, but um, like everything has been subverted and destroyed for a long time except for video games. For whatever reason, gamers have been like the only group of people who have been like willing to stand up to these to these people and really start talking about what's actually important. Actually getting good, high quality products from people who are passionate about making them, right? That is, in a lot of ways, kryptonite to these people because they don't have any appreciation for the culture in and of itself. They don't like the medium. They don't like video games. They don't like anything about it other than what it can do for the message, for their ideology. And so, like, it's led to this slugfest where they had to for the first time contend with people who were dead set against them, because usually what would happen is that they would be like young upcoming upstarts going up against like older establishment people that would be slowly replaced by like believers of woke culture. But with gamers it was kind of the opposite, in that like these guys at the time in their 30s were going up against like dudes in their teens and early 20s, right? The exact opposite. Their typical tactics of just gaslighting, of just lying, of making stuff up and thinking people would believe it. It just didn't work. And gradually, we've started seeing more and more people start to notice the patterns and start to notice the problems. When it, like specifically like how their version of history doesn't make any sense, how they blatantly make stuff up, about how their experts are unreliable, how they don't know the slightest thing about not only video games, but things outside of that sphere as well, when it comes to politics or history, general culture, right? The idea that uh, leftism, uh, the idea that conservatives don't create culture is entirely a fiction created by these people who wanted to control the culture in order to push their message. This is what we're seeing now. And at this stage, now that woke culture is on like taking a back pedal and people are starting to catch on, like what they're trying to do now is trying to subvert and destroy the anti-woke community. So right now you have a lot of people like going to bat for extremely woke products like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Baldur's Gate 3, out of this idea that like these are actually good products that are not woke in any way, shape or form, which is not true at all. And people have caught on to the fact it's not true, but there are a lot of people who are religiously still defending this idea that like Larian Studios is somehow based. That Daniel Vavra was somehow based. Like, when we all know he was just a grifting member of the tribe, right? That's that's the reality of the anti-woke movement. A lot of prominent people on our side are actually complete snakes who will turn on us the instant that it becomes viable for them to do so. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was probably always meant to be a bait and switch. And seeing so many people like try and defend it and try to defend the decisions to like do things like say not explore churches, to include gay options, to include anachronistic terms, right, in this game that was meant to be like a meticulous like historical piece, right? Like, there were all these people have every right to be upset about what happened with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But we really do need to address that right now our core enemy is not the woke community, the people who are openly against what we're doing and what we hope to accomplish. It's people who who claim to be one of us. People like Daniel Vavra. People like Raging Golden Eagle. Like, oh no, we have to protect Lolicon, right? People who are like saying that like gays can be normal. Complete fiction, right? If you've spent any amount of time around them at all, you would know that. Like there are definitely like people out there that are speaking up about this, but it does need to be understood that there are far more grifters, and I do think that is like the main thing among the community right now is that we need to be able to spot people like Ricada Law. We need to start condemning people like side scrollers. We need to start talking about how like the vast majority of people in the space have no real interest in it outside of grifting and making money and like getting a bunch of subscribers. When it really matters, these people aren't going to stand up for anything. And that is the primary problem with the anti woke community right now. In a lot of ways, it is extremely compromised.